Morning, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I'm doing pretty good myself because, I feel like a lot of the time on this channel, we look at PlayStation fanboys, and you guys clearly love the PlayStation fanboy content. The views and likes show it. But I figured today, since, there's not really much going on in terms of the console wars, why not move to, I guess, what you would call the handheld wars. So today we are going to be looking at a Nintendo Switch fanboy who is trying to downplay the success of the Steam Deck. And we're actually going to be taking a look at 3 videos that are all related to the topic. Now, they are a little old. They're about a month old, but I never thought to make a Steam Deck video. And since not much is going on in terms of the consoles, I just decided, hey, why not? So, yeah, basically we're going to watch all 3 videos. This will hopefully be a nice longer video for you guys, and if I'm feeling up to it, we might even get a double upload today. What do you guys think about that? You think that's a good idea? I do. So, anyway, without further ado, let's go into the first video.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Mouth of the Dragon, the sequel to Eye of the Dragon. Please look forward to that. So,
okay, am I the only one who thinks this dude sounds really disappointed right now? Like, he just started talking about the Steam Deck. He couldn't even say the Steam Deck's full name before even sighing. So is he just really disappointed with the Steam Deck? Is he disappointed that the Switch actually is competition now? Like, dude, what's going on here, man?
the Valve Steam Deck is now upon us. Launching on the 25th of February, this thing was supposed to destroy the Nintendo Switch. It was supposed to make the console obsolete. It was supposed to put Nintendo out of business.
Dude, I can confirm the Steam Deck is in fact upon us, but no, dude, this Steam Deck was not supposed to put Nintendo out of business. It was not supposed to kill the Switch. It was supposed to be competition for the Switch, and it was supposed to get more people into PC gaming to increase Steam's overall revenue, because now, like, you've got access to PC gaming in a much more affordable, portable form. So, yeah, I don't think this thing was actually supposed to put Nintendo out of business. That's kind of stupid to say, because, in fact, if you remember, back when the Steam Deck first got announced, Gabe Newell actually said that the price was painful for them. So, yeah, I don't think Valve's goal with this was to put Nintendo out of business. I'm pretty sure it was just to make PC gaming more accessible to a larger market.
And Nintendo fans like myself would be crying in their parents' basement or something like that. I don't remember exactly what Oh No It's Alex said, but it was something along those lines.
My dude, you are a full-grown man sitting in your house and making console war videos. Do you really have any right to be talking about people sitting in their basements and crying?
Those lines. What Review Tech USA said, what any of these people said. I haven't watched these videos from those people in months, but
yeah, it's going to be pretty apparent, not just in this video, but in the other 2 videos that we're going to look at, that he has not watched any videos on this or done any research whatsoever.
What essentially has happened is that the narrative has crumbled, right? What was supposed to happen is that the Switch would be PTFO right out of the gate by this handheld gaming PC, but instead, people are observing a lot of very notable issues in regards to this overpriced piece of hardware.
Okay, so 2 things right here. One, just I want you guys to pay attention to the fact that he said there are some notable issues with the Steam Deck, because I think you're going to find these notable issues to be quite hypocritical and, kind of dumb coming from a Switch fanboy of all people. But also, how is the Steam Deck overpriced? It's more than twice as powerful as the Switch, has like 20 billion, I don't even know, but it has a way more massive library of games to play than the Switch. You can emulate more Nintendo games than the Switch has itself. Like, how is the Steam Deck overpriced? The cheapest version you can get is only $50 more than the Switch. So, if anything, in all honesty, and also, when you look at the fact that the Switch OLED is the same price as the lowest price of the Steam Deck, like, how is the Switch OLED not overpriced? Also, the Xbox Series S is actually $300. So, if you look at it that way, the Switch should really only be like $150 or $200 right now, honestly.
Emulators don't work. The control sticks are drifting. Not every game on Steam is available. Like there are all sorts of like issues that just have built up.
Okay, so let's address each one of these points individually and break them down. First off, emulators not working. Last I checked, you basically can't emulate on the Switch at all. And oh, by the way, Nintendo actually uses emulators to run their backwards compatible games with the Switch Online stuff, like, you know, that like garbage overpriced expansion pack where you get like the GameCube games. Yeah, those are emulators, and those emulators absolutely suck. So I don't know why you're gonna bash this thing for some emulators not working when, hey, at least the Steam Deck has working emulators. Like, good God, Nintendo's own emulators don't even work. Second of all, the sticks drifting. Like, do I even need to say anything? A Switch fanboy is going to criticize another handheld for having drifty controllers? Like, are you actually kidding me, dude? The Switch has had some of the driftiest controllers in, like, the entire history of gaming. And I know somebody's going to come back at me with, oh, well, the problem is you can't detach the controllers from the Steam Deck, but you can with the Switch, so you could just get new ones. First of all, I'm not paying $80 for a new controller that's probably just going to drift again for the Switch. Second of all, the Switch Lite also had drift, so yeah, you can't, last I checked, you can't detach the controllers from that thing, so nice try. Finally, you're going to complain that not every game on Steam is available, which, by the way, is false, and we'll actually get into that soon. I'm not going to go over that right now, but I'm going to completely prove that wrong in a second. But basically, you're actually going to complain that not every game on Steam is available. My dude, the Switch's library is literally microscopic compared to Steam. Like, if you hate that not every game only works on certain versions of the Steam Deck, which again we'll get into in a little bit, if you're going to complain about that, you must hate the Switch, because the Steam has like 99% of every game ever made, and the Switch barely gets like 10% of modern third-party games. Like, the Steam Deck's library curb stomps the Switch's library in every single way, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
To the point where I don't think anyone would really consider this to be a viable product. The only people I see seriously picking up Steam Decks are people who review technology professionally.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, dude. The only people who would ever buy a Steam Deck are people who review technology. You know, that's why when it was announced, it was sold out immediately for the next 9 months, and I actually just checked Steam. You're not going to be able to get one of these. These things are on back order until like October or November at the earliest. So, yeah, you know, definitely, dude. It's definitely only people who review technology that are interested in this thing, 100%, considering that it's already more unavailable than, like, the next-gen consoles at this point, it seems. Good God.
Like, that's it. Like, Valve fanboys have no need for it because they already have gaming PCs.
But do you know what you can't do with a gaming PC? Put it in your backpack and take it with you wherever you go. Yeah, you can do that with a laptop, but laptops are way too, at least in my opinion, huge and bulky, and you've got to carry around a spare, like, keyboard and mouse, or not keyboard and mouse, sorry. You got to carry around just a mouse, and then, or a controller if you want to, but all that can be solved with the Steam Deck, which is just a great package. It's nice and affordable as well. That's another thing, is that gaming PCs are very expensive, so it's going to appeal to people who want to get into PC gaming but can't afford it. So to claim that people have no need for this thing is absolutely stupid.
Like, Switch fanboys aren't going to switch over because you can't legally play Nintendo games on it.
Yeah, you can't legally play them on it, but you still can play them on it. In fact, you can play more Nintendo games than on the actual Switch itself. Also, the Switch fanboys aren't going to switch over because, well, you know, they're fanboys like you, so I guess you would know that.
Like, Xbox and PlayStation fans aren't going to get a Steam Deck. They're not just going to magically switch to Steam. Like there's no reason to. Like, it's all the same shit.
Yeah, you're right. Not every Xbox and PlayStation owner is going to switch to a Steam Deck, but what is likely going to happen is a lot of people who, especially people who already have gaming PCs, but even people on Xbox and PlayStation, are going to might get a Steam Deck because it can play a lot of the same games that their consoles can play that the Switch cannot play in this portable, very affordable form. So, yeah, you're right. No one's going to switch to it as their primary platform. At least that doesn't seem likely to me. But people are definitely going to probably I would imagine a lot of people are going to prefer this over the Switch now because it can play so many more games that they probably already play on their consoles.
Like, the Valve Steam Deck is a new piece of technology in a market that has no real desire for it.
Are you kidding me? Did this dude actually just say there's no desire for the Steam Deck? If that was the case, then why is it sold out until October or November at the earliest? And also, a lot of Switch people, like Switch players and just regular people who play video games in general, like including Switch fanboys, have been begging Nintendo to make a Switch Pro that's more powerful, that can handle more graphically demanding games. So that's basically what this is, minus the support for a lot of Switch games. But even then, certain Switch games can be emulated for the Steam Deck. So I like to say that there's nobody wants this is completely stupid.
Right? Like, people can bang around all they want about, like, oh man, you can pirate all this stuff and do this or that with it, but what it amounts to, really, when you get right down to it, is that it's an inferior product at a more expensive price.
Actually, no, it's superior objectively in every single way, besides the fact that you can't detach the controllers from it. And also, if you want to look at the Switch OLED is actually the exact same price as the Steam Deck. So, what exactly is your point here, my guy?
In a market that is already saturated with superior products. Like, essentially, there is no demographic for the Valve Steam Deck.
So I already talked about his claim that there was no demographic or market for the Steam Deck, so I'm not gonna go back into that again. But to say that there's superior products to the Steam Deck, yes, obviously that's the case, but by that logic, the Switch shouldn't exist either because there's superior products to that. Oh wait, sorry, you don't think that because you're a fanboy. But by this logic, basically no gaming platform should exist except for PC because it's by far the most superior to everything else. So, I mean, what exactly is your point? Are you actually trying to advocate that Nintendo just shouldn't exist either?
The only reason anyone was seriously hyping this thing up was because it was a means to downplay the Nintendo Switch for a few months until the narrative started to shift again. Until I think now what the industry is trying to do is say that, like, the Switch 2 is on the horizon, and that you shouldn't buy a Switch now or buy any Switch games because, like, obviously the Super Switch will have like better versions of those same games available at launch. Like, it's the same thing. We've seen this play out time and time again, like for decades now. The gaming media will not acknowledge Nintendo as the industry leader and only true innovator in the gaming space. Like, they will continue hyping up the Steam Deck. They will continue pretending Xbox.
Okay, yeah, people have been asking for another Switch for a while that's more powerful, but who the heck is out here saying that you just shouldn't buy a Switch anymore and you shouldn't buy Switch games? Like, the only reason I've heard people argue that is because, you know, of Nintendo's pretty crappy and dark practices where they remember the whole Etika, like, donation charity thing. Like, all the fact that their emulators are terrible, like, they're shutting down all these competitions, like, they're just being awful to the community. So that's, like, the only reason I've heard people say, like, oh, don't buy Nintendo stuff, like, don't support them. But besides that, like, no one is saying don't buy Switch games because the Switch 2 might be around the corner. Like, that is so stupid to say.
Xbox and PlayStation is relevant. They'll continue doing this or that. Like, I've seen Review Tech USA, like, try to sell people on this thing called an Evercade. I have no idea what the fuck it is, but it's a thing that exists. I have no idea what it is. But I don't think these kinds of platforms are really going to be relevant in the future. They are going to become increasingly niche.
Did he actually just say that handhelds are going to become increasingly niche while he's trying to defend and fanboy for the Switch? Oh my god, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you cannot be this stupid. You actually just said that platforms like the Switch and Steam Deck are going to become niche in a video where you're trying to downplay the Steam Deck and, like, fanboy for the Switch. What are you actually talking about?
They are going to become increasingly fringe, and Nintendo is kind of going to dominate the mainstream space going forward. I don't see Steam Deck. Steam Deck is essentially dead on arrival, in other words.
Okay, I know I'm getting repetitive now, but the Steam Deck is literally sold out until October or November of this year. How is it dead on arrival? What are you talking about?
Like, there are too many problems with it. It's too expensive. It's too fringe. I think the only thing really keeping it going, the only reason people bought into it was this fantasy of it outperforming Nintendo Switch. But within the launch window, it is very apparent to anyone who is seriously looking into this platform that that is simply not going to happen.
And just like that, the first video is over. So now we're going to move on to the second one. And before we move on to the second one, I actually wanted to mention this. I completely forgot to say this in my intro. But this is the new Call of Duty Vanguard mode. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of Vanguard gameplay, but this is the brand new mode. And in my opinion, it's actually really fire. If you guys want me to make a video giving my thoughts on it, please let me know, because I would actually really like to make a video talking about it. I think it's really fun, honestly. But yeah, anyway, next video.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Mouth of the Dragon. Please sure to look forward to that. So, with the release of the Steam Deck, I have been casually observing the reactions of fanboys online. There have been, as I expected, there was a very, very immediate decline in interest in the Steam Deck after it came out. Like, now, the fantasy of the Steam Deck, the fantasy of having, like, a console that can play everything that a Nintendo Switch can, immediately faded with the reality that, like, oh, wow, like, Steam Deck can't play even all of the games on Steam. Like,
Okay, so that was definitely a much longer clip. Apologies for that, but you really just need to hear it all. So to say that the Steam Deck cannot play everything that the Switch can play is absolutely stupid. Like, yes, it doesn't have every single Switch game, but every game the Switch can play, the Steam Deck can also play in a far superior form to the Switch. And also, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. So remember earlier when he was talking about how he can't play all the games on Steam, and I said I would get to that later? Yeah, I'm going to get to that right now. So basically, you can buy Linux and Windows-based versions of the Steam Deck. If you buy a Linux-based version of the Steam Deck, it will not be able to play every single game, because not every single game supports Linux on Steam. Meanwhile, every single game on Steam does support Windows. So as long as you get a Windows-based one, like most people are going to do, you will be completely fine. It's only if you get a Linux-based one where you're going to run into an issue.
let alone games on Switch or games on other platforms. Like I said early on, the Steam Deck had no audience, but in my circle, in my demographic, among like my community, I have been bombarded with requests to talk more about Steam Deck, to talk more about this this console and like its failings, its problems, and I really don't think it's necessary.
That's right, guys. It's so not necessary to talk about how the Steam Deck is quote-unquote failing compared to the Switch that he made 3 videos in the span of, like, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks? I can't remember, but yeah, it's so unnecessary to cover it that you made 3 videos in the span of, like, 2 weeks covering it. Yeah, sure, bud.
I really don't, because even the most hardcore of Steam fanboys are not playing their Steam Decks.
Okay, how do you know that people aren't playing their Steam Decks? Who are you to say that? Like, dude, come on, shut up.
The entire point of the Steam Deck, the entire reason it exists, the entire reason, like, the fanboys hyped it up so much, the entire reason that, like, third parties are throwing all their weight behind it, it's to try and downplay the Switch. It's to try and create, like, artificially create a competitor for Switch, even though there really is no demand for one.
No, this was not created to downplay the Switch. It was created as competition for the Switch, and also so Valve could enter a new market and get more people involved with Steam so they can increase revenues because more people will be buying the games from Steam.
Companies are desperate for Nintendo to kind of step aside and go bankrupt, and at this point in time, it doesn't really feel like it's going to happen.
Okay, I don't think that anyone was trying to claim that the Steam Deck was going to make Nintendo go bankrupt. Like, come on, dude. The only people who are claiming that people are saying that are fanboys like you who are trying to over-dramatize this entire situation. Over-dramatize, is that even a word? Whatever, I'm using it.
Like, the third parties did everything in their power to ruin Nintendo's console division, to ignore their handhelds, to ignore their business entirely, and they failed. They did everything they could, and there's just nothing more they can do. even by directly copying Nintendo and like releasing tablets like this.
Okay, to say they failed is completely stupid. They absolutely did not fail. Like, for the 50th time that I've said it this video, the console is sold out until October. So how exactly did they fail at that? Also, who's to say there's not more they can do? Like, how could they not build upon this? Like, what if we get even more better versions of the Steam Deck in the future? Like, what if we get more powerful versions that are, like, still extremely affordable? What if we get even cheaper versions? Like, what if, here's my question for you, good sir. What happens if they release a Steam Deck that's less powerful than the current Steam Deck, but still more powerful than the Switch, and it costs less? Then what's your response to that? Because earlier in the last video, you were talking about how the Steam Deck is overpriced. So what would you say if it was less expensive than the Switch, huh? Well, I guess that would just be Valve getting desperate to make people buy the Steam Deck, so they're making it way too cheap, right? Yeah, that sounds about right coming from you.
And like trying to tell their audience, like, oh man, it's so much more powerful, it's so much better. Like, it's never ever going to outperform the Switch. Not financially, not hardware wise, not software wise.
Okay, so for financially, maybe I can definitely get behind you on that, because, you know, they're selling each unit at a loss, so of course it's not going to make up for their financials or anything. In fact, it's going to lose them money. But to say that it's not outperforming the Switch's hardware, like, that is an objective lie. That is completely false. It's, what is the Steam Deck? Like, more than 3 times more powerful than the Switch? Like, come on, dude, shut up. You're just straight up stating lies now just to make yourself look good.
Like, there's nothing they can possibly do. All they can do is really keep up this facade and keep trying to convince people that, like, Nintendo is for kids and that the Steam Deck is for adult gamers.
Okay, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think at any point in Valve's marketing for the Steam Deck that they say, yeah, you know, Nintendo, they're just for kids. Only real adult gamers play on the Steam Deck. Like, I don't think they ever said that at any point during the marketing, but hey, maybe they did. Comment below if they did, please.
The market is different. It's really not. It's really not. Like, I am lately watching Nintendo Directs. It's kind of startling seeing how many people get excited at different things. People who like Fire Emblem, you know, people who like Xenoblade, people who like Wii Sports. Like, I saw so many reaction videos of people reacting to that Nintendo Direct, and they all went wild over completely different things. And to me, that kind of speaks volumes about, like, where all of these different audiences for all these different games are, is that they are all on Nintendo Switch.
I know this dude did not just say what I think he just said. Dude, are you trying to tell me that people who like Nintendo's games and get excited for Nintendo's games might watch Nintendo Directs and get excited about them? Are you serious? No, but in all seriousness, like, come on. Are you actually kidding me? Did this dude actually just say that every audience for every video game is on the Switch because people get excited for Wii Sports for the Switch and Fire Emblem? Like, what is this guy talking about?
There's no reason to have multiple platforms. Like, I always see people try and argue that, like, competition is good for the industry, having different pieces of hardware is a good thing. It's not.
Yes, there's no reason to have multiple platforms. That's why the Switch only gets like 10% of current third-party games that release, like, period. Yeah, so there's definitely no reason to have any platform besides a Nintendo Switch. But also, did this dude actually just say that competition is bad? How is competition bad? It pushes innovation. It pushes companies to undercut each other on prices, make more compelling hardware. That's what's happened here, where the Steam Deck is trying to keep reasonably close to the Switch's price, but then be way more powerful and be able to play way more games. So how exactly is competition bad? Oh, wait, yeah, that's right. It's because it makes the Nintendo Switch look worse because of how good the Steam Deck is. My bad.
Like, really, what companies should be doing is releasing competitive pieces of software on the same hardware, right? They should all be Nintendo exclusive. There should be no Amazon Luna. There should be no, like, Google Stadia. There should be no Xbox Game Pass. There should be no PlayStation. There should be no Apple Arcade. There should be no mobile game market. Like, everything should just be primarily released on a single gaming platform. And
Guys, he's absolutely right. Everyone just bow down and hand all your games over to Nintendo, not the other way around. Because, you know, forget the fact that the Switch can't run most games that are on these other platforms, and that's why the Switch doesn't get the games. But also, are you serious? Are you actually trying to say that Nintendo should be the only platform? Because if that were the case, Switch Online would manage to be somehow 100 times worse than it is right now. And also, like, Nintendo wouldn't be pushed to make any, like, you know, good changes. They wouldn't be pushed to make improvements in their hardware or in their games or anything, so they could just sell us complete and utter crap and nobody could do anything about it because there would be no competition. Like, how is competition bad for gaming? Like, oh my god, this has to be the worst take on the Steam Deck of all time.
We are slowly marching towards that inevitable reality where these alternative markets just aren't that viable. I would say at this stage, the only reason that like Apple Arcade even exists is because like Apple is just throwing money at it.
Okay, two things. One, why is he even bringing up Apple Arcade? Like, that's a mobile game subscription service. It's not a console. Apple doesn't have any gaming consoles, so I don't know what this has to do with anything. But also, the reason Apple is able to throw so much money at Apple Arcade is because people are paying for the subscription and they're making their money back, so they continue to support it. So are you trying to claim that like Apple Arcade is extremely unsuccessful? Because clearly that's not the case, or Apple would have shut it down a long time ago.
Like, the only reason Xbox Game Pass exists is because Phil Spencer is just throwing money at it.
Yeah, and like I said with Apple Arcade, the reason they're throwing so much money at it is because it's making bank. Like, Game Pass has over 25 million subscribers now. Like, that's actually insane. So yeah, the reason they're throwing money at it is because they're making bank off of it and people are using and buying the service.
Like we're dealing with the biggest companies in the world who are willing to blow billions of dollars to attempt to compete with Nintendo. But
yeah, you're right, man. They're just attempting to compete with Nintendo. They're just wasting billions of dollars. That's why they still exist to this day, and that's why every single video game company out there is doing better than ever right now. 100%, dude.
Nintendo is so good at what they do, they're really never going to be toppled. They're going to establish themselves as a true industry, a giant. I think in the next 50 years, will be bigger than Disney.
I know this dude did not just say that Nintendo in 50 years is going to be bigger than Disney. Like, dude, Disney has their hand in, like, every single form of entertainment in existence, and they own over 200 companies, including some of the biggest in the world, like, you know, Marvel, Pixar, Lucasfilm. Like, dude, Nintendo will never even be close to Disney. I can assure you of that one.
Disney, I anticipate, will have a major collapse in the next 10, 20 years. While Nintendo will keep expanding and growing. Nintendo is doing phenomenally well right now and will continue doing phenomenally well in the future in spite of like global problems and all the stuff that's going on right now. Nintendo has succeeded while companies like Valve will never do anything but fail.
You know what, guys? That was a perfect end to that video. He's absolutely right. You know what? Disney is going to be gone in the next 50 years. That's absolutely correct. And then on top of that, all Valve ever does is fail. That's why they put out some of the best video games of all time and why they have the largest video game marketplace of all time. You know, there's over 1 billion users on Steam, and there's somewhere around like 100 million Switch owners, I think. So they have like 10 times the amount of people on Steam that Nintendo does for people owning Switches. Yep, you know what? All Valve does is fail. But yeah, anyway, guys, now we're going to get into the final video that we're going to cover today.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Mouth of the Dragon. Where the... did the Steam Deck fall flat on its face, or what?
I think I'm going to go with or what on this one.
Like, unbelievable. I'm getting all kinds of, like, reports regarding, like, disappointed customers and people who were duped into thinking the Steam Deck could do things it couldn't possibly do. You have people, like, selling Switches for more than they're worth, like, as soon as they get them, scalping them.
Dude, how could anyone possibly sell a Switch for more than it's worth? I thought a Switch was priceless. I thought there was no limit to the price that could be put on it that would still be reasonable. I thought this was literally God for the gaming consoles. Like, the ultimate Nintendo fanboy is now admitting you can put a price on the Switch. Guys, this is truly so sad.
YouTubers who hype them up, just saying that like, oh man, this was such a bad purchase. The results are clear. The results are in. The Nintendo Switch is superior to the Steam Deck, and what's more, my opinion, that the Wii U will have outsold the Steam Deck.
Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but the Steam Deck is already sold out until October. What gives you the impression it's going to sell worse than the Wii U? Like, isn't the Wii U one of the worst selling consoles ever made? Like, dude, I highly doubt the Steam Deck is going to sell that poorly. Good God, you are truly a Nintendo supremacist. My God almighty.
Still holds very, very true. I don't think the Steam Deck will be a thing a couple of years from now. I don't think it'll sell more than a couple of million units.
But the Wii U is still a thing now? Like, dude, what are you talking about?
I don't know how many they've released to the public. I don't know how long it's going to be until we get numbers, but it's safe to say that this isn't going to replace Switch, and it isn't going to be successful for Valve. It was just a cheap cash grab for them.
I'm going to put down $100 right now saying that not only will this be a success for Valve, but also that it already has been a success for Valve since, you know, it's been selling out like crazy. Also, how is it a cash grab? In order for something to be a cash grab, the company has to make money from it. Like, remember Gabe Newell said that the price was painful? They are losing money on every sale of this thing. This was quite literally the opposite of a cash grab.
Something to get like a little bit of excitement going, to keep their people busy, and to just to keep their fanboys talking shit about Nintendo consoles. It's nothing new for them, nothing all that different, but I really didn't expect anything more. This is exactly what I expected to see, up to and including like the rousing silence from the Steam Deck community, who insisted this would kill the not the silence, the damage control.
This is how you know this dude has no idea what he's talking about. First, the Valve Steam Deck community has been completely dead silent about this entire thing, and now all of a sudden there's been outcries of damage control and stuff. Like, dude, pick one. One of these things is not like the other. You can't have it be dead quiet, but also damage control. Like, come on, dude. Use your brain there.
Because what I'm seeing from the Steam Deck community right now is people backtracking and trying to say that, like, oh, I never said it would kill the Switch. I said it was going to be a successful alternate market. It has its own niche demographic. No, it doesn't. Like, there's no reason to own something like a Steam Deck.
Besides the fact that it can play your entire Steam library in an affordable, portable form. Like, come on, dude. Seriously, there's no reason to own it. By that logic, there's no reason to own a Switch either. Like, come on, man. Also, I could have sworn earlier you were saying that it does have a niche market, but it's just so niche it doesn't even matter. But now it doesn't have a niche market, like, period. Like, come on, dude. What's with all these, like, sudden flip-flops?
Like, it's remarkable how PC gamers who insist that, like, they only play games on their rigs, right? Their big, high-powered gaming PCs. How quickly they throw that all away for a tablet, right? For a gaming tablet like the Steam Deck.
Bro, who is throwing away their gaming PC for a Steam Deck? Nobody is doing that. People are getting the Steam Deck so that way they can play their PC games in a portable form so they don't have to carry around their entire rig with them wherever they go. Or,
more specifically, pretend to throw it away. This really was nothing more than a blatant attempt at talking down to Nintendo audiences and trying to condemn them for playing on consoles, and it fell flat on its face. Like, the Steam Deck is not successful, it never will be successful, and I don't expect we'll hear about it in the future.
Actually, it is successful, and it's probably going to continue to be successful, and something tells me we will be hearing more about it in the future.
It'll join the Steam Box, it'll join, like, all these other failed Valve products. This is simply another piece. This is simply another example to show on future demographics, future infographics regarding the history of Valve's numerous hardware failures.
Damn, he was kind of having a hard time getting those last sentences out at the end there. But basically what we learned today is the Steam Deck is completely dead. The Nintendo Switch killed it. Forget the fact that it's sold out until October. The Steam Deck is already a complete failure. Like, Valve, just give up. You're failing. Disney's going to get shut down in the future. And Nintendo is going to be the biggest company in the world at some point. Like, come on, guys. Let's just be real. But yeah, anyway, guys, this video took a long time to put together. So if you could, please like the video if you liked it. If not, that's fine. Drop a dislike if you want to. It doesn't really matter to me. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this where I talk about fanboys and respond to their really bad videos. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one.